The Toronto Raptors were oh so close, just 1 point away from knocking off the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA playoffs. To talk Raptors basketball and the growing support for the sport in Canada, we bring in Stephen Brunt in our Sportsnet studios in Toronto. Now, Stephen, did anyone expect the Raptors to have the season they did?
Well, there's always somebody out there saying, I told you so. But in this case, it would be a very, very small number of people. No one saw this coming, I don't think, really at the beginning of the season, when the Raptors started slowly at the beginning of the year. Even midseason when they traded their top scorer, their best player, Rudy Gay. At that moment, I think most people thought they're trying to, if anything, they were maybe trying to tank, that they were trying to lose games to get a better position in the draft. So this has been as unexpected as anything I've ever seen, I think, in sport in terms of the way a season played out. And, a bit of a fairy tale. Maybe not the fairy tale ending, but up until that point, an incredible feel-good story.
It was ready for that fairy tale ending, but you know what? Listen, the fan support for the Raptors was pretty evident. Thousands watched basketball in Maple Leaf Square, and millions more watched on their TV sets at home. Is basketball popularity growing in Canada?
Well, I think a lot of people jumped on this particular bandwagon. You can understand why. They're a very likable team. I'd say an unlikely kind of a Cinderella story. A team that didn't quit. And so a lot of casual fans, if you look at where basketball ratings were earlier in the season versus where they were at the end during that series with Brooklyn, especially at the end of the Brooklyn series, there was obviously enormous growth in terms of people watching basketball. And I think a lot of people jumped on and decided they liked this team. But there is something else going on in this country, which is the growth of basketball at a grassroots level, the production of great basketball players in this country, and a basketball culture. We're not quite to the point, we're not even close to the point where basketball is hockey or even baseball. But what you saw, I think, this spring it's not a fluke. It's not all by itself. It's part of a continuum. It's part of something that's really going on.
Well, lots of young talent coming out of the GTA these days, players like Anthony Bennett, Andrew Wiggins. How much of an effect do you think the days of Vince Carter have on the current generation?
Well, I think you've got to look at it as a bit of an echo effect. If you look at what age those guys are, when they were coming of age, when they were kids growing up, and what they were watching, it really does all lead you back to the first golden era of Raptors basketball, the Vince Carter years, when he was one of the superstars of the NBA. The Raptors were in the playoffs. They looked like they were on their way to something big, and if you're a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old now, those were your formative years. So I think we are seeing this is kind of the Vince Carter generation that we're seeing coming of age in college ball in the States and in their early years in the NBA.
Definitely exciting to watch. I mean, Stephen, last summer we spoke about Andrew Wiggins being a potential top pick in this year's draft, and we're just over a month away from the day. What are the odds that Wiggins is the first selection?
I think, I'm not sure he's going to be first overall. I think he'll be in the top 5. He might be in the top 2, but it's a little more fluid than it was before that college season started. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes number 1, but I don't expect it.
All right, Stephen, thanks for your insight on this. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Wilder.